welcome to January. We're all here, we made it. And welcome to yoga and being present and being here. So whether you're lying down or seated, make a choice, make a conscious choice, and maybe just listen to your body for a second and see what really suits you in this moment. It's up there in the candle holder. Sorry, I was trying to light an incense. Once you've consciously chosen what position you want to begin in, what shape you want to move your breath into and out of, I want you to close your eyes, and if there's any wiggles or energy or something that needs to move through you, feel free to wiggle that out, move that, change that. And then I'd like you to start to just ground downwards. Either think of just your legs and the base of your pelvis sinking into the ground. Or if you're lying down, think of the whole back of your body sinking, connecting, touching the ground. Think of drawing your breath up from the earth. Think of pulling it up through the parts of you touching the ground. Let it swirl and circle through your torso, through your head. And then when you exhale, let that energy, that breath, go back down to the earth. Starting to just connect and root downwards. Inhale a deep breath in, pulling it up from beneath you. And then exhale, let it pull any of the stresses, tensions, worries out of your body, sinking them into the ground. Letting them be neutralized by the ground, by the earth. Slowing your breathing in this way, pulling the energy up, the breath up through your body. Let it swirl and circle in any parts of you that hold tension, that hold stress, that hold pain. And then exhale, release that back to the earth. Set your ego aside, not wanting to be comparative in this class. Just be present in the body you have today, on your mat, and in this space. Be present in the now, right here. Keep drawing yourself back to being present, to being here. Take a last deep cycle of breath, pulling it up, and then sending it down, rooting into the ground. Really like to move through each energy center of the body, sometimes known as chakras, sometimes known as like plexus. And they all swirl in different directions according to some beliefs, and in some they're just light, and in some they are energy, but you can choose what image suits you. For females, the rotation begins clockwise at the root chakra, so right at the base of where you're sitting. We're going to move through these as we move through our first two poses, our first pose, both sides. So we will move through them, talk about them a little bit, because they're long holds. We're going to be in square or log pose, depending which yoga you're doing. but we're gonna hold it for a yin length of time. It's gonna be about 4 minutes per side. If you cannot sit or you cannot fold forward, you can do lying pigeon. It's gonna have the same effect. So for those of you able to sit, able to be present, able to fold, you're going to cross your right leg over top of your left leg and try and stack them like they're logs. Pull your toes up just to get yourself started. And then you're gonna fold forward at your hips and you're gonna allow yourself to roll all the way over. If you cannot even think about sitting or folding forward for any reason, then you're gonna come into lying pigeon, right leg crossing over left, and then bringing your left leg toward you, hands interlaced behind your left thigh, your left hamstrings. Again, start with your toes pulled in just to prep you and set you up in a really good space, and then you can let your feet relax once you're there. So I'm gonna start my little timer, and I want you to go back to trying to draw long, deep, slow breaths. And we're gonna start talking about this swirling of energy. So for females, in the type of yoga that I study, the root chakra swirls clockwise. So if you think of the base of your spine, your pelvic floor, and you think of energy moving there, it would be the color red in diagrams, drawings, etc. And it would be turning clockwise. So you can inhale and think of that space in your body with a red light, a red glow. Exhale, still think of the red glow, think of that swirling clockwise. For any men, if you're watching this later, or for Flo who's participating now, it would be the opposite. You would start counterclockwise. Take another breath, thinking of that red color. Thinking of the energy swirling in one direction, connecting to the ground beneath you. Like stabilizing, centering space. And then with your next breath, think of the space just under your belly button. It would be orange. So think of orange light filling the space under your belly button. Think of energy. I think of like a drain, water swirling downwards, a whirlpool. That would be going counterclockwise for women, clockwise for men. Think of that energy swirling, inhale and exhale and watch it move within you. And then you'll move up to above your belly button, where your ribs meet. Third chakra would be yellow. Inhale, think of that energy swirling clockwise for women, counter for men. Think of your breath spinning that energy. So scientifically, if you think of these energy centers, it's where big clusters of nerves are. And that's why there's so much energy swirling there. It's not some strange made up belief. And sometimes we need a little bit of backing. Makes it feel better, makes it feel good. Moving up to the space around your heart. That would be green. Think of green filling your whole rib cage, surrounding your heart. Think of a whirlpool of energy swirling counterclockwise for women, clockwise for men. Feel it moving in you, feel it swirling, and let your breath push it. And we're going to slowly switch sides before we move on. Slowly rolling up to seated, switching the leg that's on top, or if you're lying down, switch the leg that's crossed over. So right leg under, left leg on top. And then again, fold forward. Trying to come right back to your breathing, inhaling slow and deep, exhaling slowly. Think of now moving up to your throat. This would be blue. Think of a blue, swirling energy space. For women, this area is clockwise, men, counter. Think of your breath pushing that energy in the direction it should be moving. Moving through your vocal cords, surrounding your neck, releasing the words that you haven't said. Moving up again between your eyes on your forehead. It's your third eye, this would be purple. Think of a purple light filling your whole skull, behind your eyes, in your mouth, your ears, your nose. Think of that light filling all parts of your head. Think of that energy swirling counter for men, or women, sorry, clockwise for men. Feel your breath slow, steady, rhythmic. And then last, we're going to move up just at the top of your head, the crown of your head. And that would be white. So think of a white light touching the very top of your head and just above your head. For women, this is a clockwise. For men, a counter-clockwise area. Think of your breath moving in that space, clearing the way for you to set intentions and goals, for you to be able to hear and see clearly. And then let go of any control, light, energy movement, breath work, and just take 3 normal breaths to finish up this pose. Slowly use your hands to press up from the floor. If you're lying down, you can roll to one side. We're going to meet in all fours. If you would like to, you can extend your legs in front of you and move your feet side to side. You can do that with your knees bent, move them side to side. Just give yourself a little bit of space in your lower back and your hips. And then let's meet in all fours. Coming onto your hands and your knees. Knees underneath hips, wrists underneath shoulders. Check that they're actually shoulder width apart. The crown of your head moving forward, the tail of your spine moving back. And then think of your belly button pulling up and in toward your spine. You want to make sure that you're not sagging through your back. You know, even when we move through cow pose, I still want you to have your belly really active. So then inhale, let your belly drop, your shoulders move back, your chest move forward. Take your gaze up and your chin up. Take an extra breath here. And then with your next exhale, tuck and curl your spine over. Round through the tailbone, the lower back, send the back of your heart to the ceiling, tuck your chin. Take an extra breath here. And then we'll meet back in neutral. From here, we're going to do a little bit of balancing cat-cow. If you feel that your balance is off or your back is really sore, feel free to keep moving just through regular cat-cow. And then we are going to take our inhale, right arm forward, left leg back. Look forward. Exhale, bring your elbow, your knee in and tuck your chin. Inhale, open, expand, look up gently. Exhale, pull it in, round your heart back. 2 more. Inhale, expand, open, nice space. Keep your belly button living and active and pulling up. Exhale, curling in. Last one. Open, expand, feel your breath, fill the space. And then exhale again. Bringing your knee down and your hand down. We're going to switch sides. Inhale, open, left arm up, right leg up, look up. Exhale, curl it in. Feel your belly button nice and active. Core stable, push the ground away from you with your hand. Exhale, curling in. Inhale, open. Exhale, curl. And then place that side down as well. Tuck your toes under. Shift your hips up and back. Push your weight back. And then walk your hands to meet your feet. Keep your knees slightly bent and let yourself dangle. Shake your head no. And then nod your head yes. And then slowly start to pedal your feet, straightening and bending opposite legs. If your hands don't touch the ground, it doesn't matter. Cross your elbows and let them dangle. Let your head be heavy. And just be in the body and the space that you're in today. If you have any injuries or any part of your body that are speaking up, make sure you're gentle, kind, and moving with awareness. Trying to stay present just in your body. Don't flit to events of the day or the list for tomorrow. Just be here. Plant your feet evenly on your mat. You can either have straight legs or you can bend your knees slightly, but make a conscious choice. And then I want you to roll to halfway up. Crown of your head reaching forward, tailbone reaching back, shoulder blades back and together. So I could come all the way to the ground and let my fingers touch and look forward. That would be another version of halfway up. So if you feel you would like to practice a different version today, you are welcome to come into this version. However, if you feel like that's closing your heart space, try and keep yourself in the full halfway up, belly button pulled in, fingertips on your shins, shoulder blades back and together. So try to figure out what version suits you today. And then exhale, let yourself roll down. Inhale again to halfway up. And if you would like a little bit more, you're going to reach your arms in front of you, reach them as far as you can, fingers nice and active, and then exhale, roll all the way down. Inhale halfway up, and again, if you want more, you're going to come into a big spread, arms wide, bird wings. And then exhale, roll down. Inhale all the way, halfway I should say, and into cactus. Fingers spread wide, and then exhale down. One more, just normal roll halfway up. Reach the crown of your head forward, tail of your spine back. Shoulder blades back and together. Make sure there's lots of space across your chest. If you're trying for the deeper one, think of your chin lifting slightly and your shoulder blades still engaging with your rib cage. Be present in that space. And then exhale, roll down. Bend your knees slightly, roll all the way up to standing. And give your hands a little shake, your feet a little shake. Do whatever you need to do. So in this space, feel your feet are hip width apart. Baby toe matching the outer edge of your the outer side of your hips. And then lift your toes off the ground. Really feel them active, move them around, try and spread them as wide as you can, like fingers. And then drop them down consciously. Think of your belly button pulling up and in. Think of your tailbone tucking. Think of your chest rising through the center slightly. Palms coming forward, chin lifting slightly. Trying to be in Tadasana, mountain pose. Be the strong mountain, even through either foot. Front to back, side to side. And then inhale your arms up, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, hop or step back, finding plank. Exhale, chaturanga, or all the way to the floor. And then inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. If you are pregnant or deeply pregnant, try and keep your knees on the ground and keep your elbows bent. No extreme back bends at this point. Inhale up to downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths here. Try and even out your breathing again, coming back to a nice even rhythm. Inhaling, counting to maybe 4. And then exhaling, matching the count. Inhale, looking forward between your hands. Exhale, hop or step forward to meet them. And then inhale to halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Close your eyes for a second. And again, notice your feet touching the ground. Are you leaning to one side? Are you leaning front or back? Take a second to be aware. Then we're going to come into tree. Let your left foot stay rooted. You can open your eyes, probably best if you do. Pull your left kneecap up. Make sure your left foot feels really stable. We're going to come into tree, but I want you to notice a few things. Look at the top of your hips, or feel the top of your hips, I should say. Feel your hands resting on the wings of your pelvis. If you let them tip to one side and skew your hips over to one side, you're not doing tree. You're doing a standing pose, sure, but you're not doing tree. So think of your left hip pulling in and your right hip staying level. You can feel them at the top of your actual hip joints. And then if you can keep them level, find your focal point. Stare at that, your dristi, an unmoving point in the distance. And then slowly drag your right foot up your leg. Think again of your left hip staying as it is and right hip opening to accommodate the knee rotating open. But check back in with your pelvis. Are you tipping to one side or the other? Are you jutting your hip out? Are you rotating your hip too far? Are you hiking the right hip really high to accommodate your right leg? Pay attention. And then you can bring your hands wherever you feel they're most comfortable when you've decided your foot is happy where it is. And take a second to notice your breath. Notice your left foot keeping you upright, continuously working to keep your balance. Take another breath. And then place your right foot back down on the ground. Release your left foot, give a little shake, spread your toes. And then find even again. Right foot to left foot. Root the right foot back into the ground. Left heel coming to the right ankle. Bring your hands back to your pelvis and notice, is the left hip high? Is the right hip high? Is your right hip jutting out to the side? And try and bring the right hip in. The belly nice and strong, crown of your head reaching for the sky. Make sure your right leg is really strong, kneecap pulling up. And then find your focal point and bring your left foot where it needs to be, trying not to give up your pelvic balance or fall. Think of the left hip opening, the right hip remaining where it is. Take a deep breath. Find what you need in this pose. Be present in your right foot. Notice the work it's doing for you. And bring your left foot down. Shake out the right if you need to. We're going to come into Warrior Two. I'm going to turn my mat so you can see this better. So from the top of your mat, I'd like you to step your left leg back. Big long step. And then check in with your right heel. Check that it matches the center of your back foot arch. Your back leg should be long and strong, should be nice and straight, kneecap pulling up. Pelvis should be open. The 2 points at the front of your pelvis should point at the long side of your mat. Then your arms come up to shoulder height, fingers reaching apart, belly button pulling in, crown of your head reaching for the sky, tailbone reaching for the ground. And then turn your gaze past your right fingertips. If you want to sink deeper and really feel the burn, please do. Do what suits your energy level. Don't overdo it. Don't push just to push. Be present. So take a breath, let your shoulders relax down your back. Think of your arms reaching. Keep your triceps engaged, the back of your arms. Think of being tall. And then slow your breath. Feel your feet connecting with the ground. And we're going to bring the right elbow to the right knee. But push your elbow into the knee so you're not collapsing into your shoulder. From this space, I want you to bring your left arm overhead, we're coming to extended side angle, hand reaching far past your head. And then turn your gaze to the ceiling. Feel really active through your whole body. Press into the ground with your right leg, but don't let your legs start to straighten. Think of your left leg as made of stone. Pull your kneecap up, be really strong. Keep your arm reaching So you feel lots of stretch through your left side. Feel your ribs open into that space. And then from here, we're going to come into a very wide stance triangle. Reach your left arm up, straighten your right leg, and drop your right hand onto your right shin, thigh, foot, wherever it comes to. Keep your gaze looking up, but pull your right kneecap up just like the left one now. If your right hand meets the ground, make sure you're cupping your fingers instead of letting them flatten. You shouldn't let them fall or collapse into the joints. Nice cup, pushing with your fingertips. Reach the left arm up as high as you can, legs really strong. Reach your arms apart. And again, find a way to slow your breath. And when you're ready, bend your front knee. And then reach your left arm up to rise. We're just going to turn our feet to do the same series on the other side. So turn your right foot in, and then point your left foot out. Should be in about the right stance. If it's not quite right, you can adjust it. Again, check your front heel matches the back arch center of your foot. Pull your right kneecap up, bend into your left knee. Make sure that your pelvis is turned to face the long side of your mat. Arms up, shoulders down. Reach your arms apart and then turn your gaze out past your left fingertips. Feel yourself sink lower if you need that today. Pull your belly button in. Let your tailbone reach to the ground and the crown of your head reach for the sky. Trying to feel like you're creating space in your torso. You're not collapsing, you're expanding. Reach. Feel your breath slow. And then bring your left elbow to your left knee. Your right arm reaches overhead. And then look up past your right tricep. Again, reach your arm. It should be electric. It should be full of energy. It shouldn't be a floppy, limp arm. Make it part of the pose. Left elbow pushing into your left knee. Kneecap pulling up on the right side. Try to be present and aware. What's happening in your body? What are you noticing? What do you feel? Where is your breath moving? Then reach your right arm up, straighten your left leg, kneecap pulls up, left hand sinks to somewhere on your left leg. Gaze continuously looks to the sky. If it's too much for your neck, you can let your head look to the ground. If your fingers reach the ground, make sure they're cupped. Fingertips pushing into the ground, no collapse through your hand. Reach your arms apart. Be really strong through your core. And then bend your front knee, left knee. Reach your arm up and come back to standing. This time point both your toes to the short side of your mat. Pull up both kneecaps. Place your hands on your hips. And we're going to come to halfway up or halfway down. But try and bring your shoulder blades back in together and your elbows back in together behind you. If that means your hands have to move behind you too, feel free to do that. But then tuck your tailbone and pull your belly button in. Fold at the hips. Kneecaps pulling up really strong. Crown reaching forward, tail reaching back. And just feel into your body here. If your knees are sensitive, you can bend them slightly. Be present. Know what's happening in your joints. Take a deep breath. And then drop your hands to the ground. If your hands don't make it to the ground, bend your knees slightly. Leave your left hand on the ground. Think of the back of your pelvis remaining flat. And open your chest toward your right side. Right arm rising and looking up toward your right hand or the ceiling. Try to keep the back of your pelvis flat. Keep your kneecaps pulling up. Take a deep breath. And then bring your right hand down. Exhale, bringing the left arm up, turning to the left side, keeping the back of your pelvis flat. If you need to, put your hand there. Notice if it's moving. Try to be really present with your breath. Twists make our breath shorter. Just notice how that feels. And then inhale, folding down, and allow yourself to fold all the way over at this point. You can use your hands to bring pressure and bring your head toward the ground. You can bring your hands behind you, interlace your fingers, feel your chest open, pull your arms away from your body. Feel what you need. Go to that space. Then release your hands if they're holding behind you. Bend your knees slightly, and then roll up to standing and heel toe your feet together. We're going to come through one more standing pose before we move to our mats. Bring your feet to inner hip width apart. So usually that means about a fist could fit between your two big toes. See what that feels like. If you need it wider, go wider. Better wider than narrow. Bend your knees and sit your hips back. Think of your tailbone tucking still and your belly button coming to life. And then slowly start to sit back until your legs don't really want to go further. You can go really far. You can go somewhere moderate. You choose. Shoulder blades back. Your arms can reach forward. If you feel like doing more, you're going to cross your right ankle over your left knee and sit back. And just take a breath. Support yourself on one leg. Feel really strong. But if that's not where you are today, don't do it. And just stay in a nice squat. And be gentle. Bring the right leg down. Switch, left leg crosses over right. Sit back down. Toes pulling up, preferably in your left leg. Take a breath. And then let your arms drop. Come to standing. Pedal out your legs if you'd like to. Then we're going to come back down to our mats. You can come back to all fours because it's the easiest way to get into this pose. We're just going to come into a nice low lunge. So bring your right foot forward between your hands. And then bring your left toes under, lift your leg off the ground, and then set it back down. You can then flatten the top of your foot back to the floor. And from here, if this is enough, don't go further. I'd like this to be a nice release for the front of your left hip. So try and let your hips sink as low as they can comfortably. If that's not enough for you, and that's not enough for your back leg, you're welcome to reach back with either your left arm, which is way more of a balance challenge, or your right arm. So you reach back, Pull your toes toward your knees so you have a bit of a handle to hang on to, but hold at the ankle, not at the foot if you can. And just give it lots of space. You can start to pull your foot towards your bum and feel into that space. Take a deep breath. Slow it down. And then release the foot if you're holding it. Let it come back to the ground. Push your hands into the ground to shift back to all fours. Slide your right foot back. Give your hips a little shake. And then bring your left foot forward between your hands. Again, reposition your back leg. Lift your knee, place it back down. Give it a second. Notice how you actually feel before you deepen this pose. So let your hips sink nicely into this shape. Let your body really become soft here. And then if you need more, bring your back leg up. Pull your toes toward your knee. Reach your left hand back. And then try to think of your chest rising, your chin rising. Feeling nice and spacious through the front of your body. Right foot moving toward your bum if you feel you have the space. Releasing that side. And then again, push your hands into the ground before you shift your left foot back. And again, shake it out. You're going to come to Balasana. So sit back on your heels. You can have knees together or knees apart when you choose. Fold forward into this shape. Head touching the ground, arms nice and soft, shoulders nice and soft. Feel your breath push into your belly. And then interlace your hands behind you. Lift your arms off your back. Reach your hands toward the ceiling. Feel your collarbones spread and separate. Reach, reach, reach up. Make this an active moment for your shoulders. Lots of space. Releasing your hands, bring them down. We're going to come to a bit of a chest opener. If you are largely pregnant or feel uncomfortable on your belly, I would like you to come instead into puppy pose, just letting your chest sink with your hands really wide. So if that's better for you, go here for anyone, especially if you are pregnant and or showing in your pregnancy. For everyone else, come all the way to your belly. I'm going to show you on the left side first so you can see what I'm doing. Bring your arm so that your elbow is slightly higher than your shoulder. And then place your head on the ground. And then roll toward your left side. Notice that my elbow slid away from me. You may have to allow that to happen. My right leg is rising off the ground, and I'm creating lots of space to stretch in the left pec. So feel into that space, create as much as you need or as little as you need. Does not have to be crazy intense, just a little bit of space. And then we're going to slowly rotate back to the center. And we'll set up for the same on the other side. So right arm, right elbow slightly higher than your right shoulder. Your head comes to the ground, left leg comes off the ground, and slowly I push into the ground with my left hand to open into the right pec space. Move into that space. Feel what's going on in there. What needs to open and shift. And then with your next breath, slowly roll back to the center. Then we're going to come into lying on our backs. Like you do, bring your feet so that they're in line with your knees, your shins parallel to the floor. And then I want you to let your knees fall over to the right. Notice that if your left shoulder rises, it's allowed. You can let it rise. If you're pregnant, don't push it to the ground. If you're not pregnant, if you want more, you can shift your shoulders to bring your left shoulder toward the ground. Left arm falls to the floor. Right hand comes to the top of your left thigh. So here, if you're in this twist and both your shoulder blades are on the ground easily, and you don't have to force it, and your leg is staying in place easily as well, you can extend your left leg. You can also extend your right leg. So feel what your body needs and move into the depth of twist that you need. You can add your head as well. Turn your gaze to your left elbow, and you can look past your left elbow toward the floor, taking your eyes all the way around, looking at the mat on the ground. Feel your breath. Try to slow it down. Even it out. And then take your gaze back to the ceiling. Release your hand. Bring one knee in and then the other. And then compress your knees into your chest. You can rock side to side. You can come into happy baby if that makes you happier. And then when you're ready, make sure that you even up to the other side. I'm just going to move so I don't have to hit my shins here. And bring your knees again up, shins parallel to the ground, feet in line with your knees. And let your knees fall to the left. Shoulders, if they lift and you're pregnant, stay here. That's it. If you're not and you want more, shift your shoulders. Right elbow comes out, left hand to the top of your right knee. You can extend one or both your legs and feel into the space you can create. Finally, your head can join and your eyes can look all the way down and around to the floor. With your next inhale, release your leg. Take your gaze to the ceiling. Move one knee in and then the other. And again, compress your knees, or if this time you would prefer to do the other option, happy baby is the option. Shins vertical. Push your tailbone gently toward the ground and pull your feet gently toward the ground. Feel the space in your pelvis. You can rock, you can be still, do what you need. We're going to take a few big belly breaths in Supta Baddha Konasana, or lying cobbler's pose. So bring your feet to the floor, knees pointing to the ceiling, and then bring your feet together so they touch. Let your knees fall open to the sides and have the soles of your feet touch. Bring your hands onto your belly and make a big heart or a big triangle over your belly. It can be over your belly button, it can be over your whole belly. You find the space that works for you. And then I want you to inhale until your hands balloon upwards toward the ceiling. Big, round, full belly of air, and then exhale, feel your belly collapse towards the ground. Inhale, big balloon of air. Exhale, soften. Inhale, inflate, create a huge round dome. The bigger the better. Feel all the muscles expand and stretch, and then exhale, let them all soften. Inhale, balloon. Exhale, deflate. Taking another big belly breath, inhale. Exhale. You can either stay in this shape and do this for a little longer, or you can come to Shavasana already. Or if you would like to, we're going to come into shoulder stand. If you do not practice shoulder stand on a video, it's not the place to start. I would prefer then if you stayed here or moved straight to Shavasana, just lying flat on your mat. For those of you who already know shoulder stand, you're going to bring your knees back together. Place your hands to either side of your hips, pushing your hands toward the ground. And then never, ever, ever look around when your head or neck is bearing weight. Push your hands into the ground and rock your hips toward you. Bring your hands to support your lower back and extend your legs up to the ceiling. I roll my shoulders under at this point, one at a time. And just make sure your toes participate in this space. Think of your belly nice and active, feet reaching for the sky. Eventually the ball of the foot is over top of the cheekbone. And then if you feel really stable, you can bring your hands to the floor. And then if you would like to, you can play with plow. Feet coming to the ground behind your head. You can play with rabbit, knees coming to either side of your ears. You can play with lotus or cross-legged. Do whatever your body really wants. You can play with this, make it your own. Take another deep breath. And then slowly support your lower back. Roll your spine back to the ground. Bring your feet to your mat. Just take one moment to shift your shoulders. Take one moment in a neutral spine. Eyes closed. Just feel what's happening inside of you. And then when you're ready, you can set yourself up for Shavasana, coming to lie on your back, or if you're pregnant or uncomfortable on your back, you can lie with your feet on the mat, your knees knocked together, or you can lie on your left side. You choose what works for you, otherwise legs long, feet falling open, arms open to the sides, palms soft and relaxed. And again, sink into and settle onto the ground. Think again of drawing your breath up from the ground. And then with your exhales, send whatever is left over back to the earth. And now, we're going to move through your body, and I want you to let yourself soften, melting into the surface of the earth. All the tension leaking out of you, cradled and supported by the ground. Think of your toes, soles of your feet, the tops of your feet, and your heels, all softening to the ground. All the tension melting away, the earth taking it from you. Feel your ankles soften, your shin bones, your calves soften. Feel your knees and your thighs soften, sinking down, the tension melting, the ground accepting it all from you. Think of your hips, your pelvis, that big bowl of bone, all the muscles surrounding your pelvis, crossing your hip joint, sinking and softening to the ground. Feel the tension run away from you. Feel your belly, the sides of your waist and your lower back soften. All the soreness running into the earth. Feel your ribcage soften. The muscles of your chest and your upper back relaxing, the tension draining away. Your collarbones, your shoulder blades, your shoulder joints all softening, sinking and supported. Feel your upper arms soften, relax, drain away. Elbows, forearms, and wrists relax. Palms and backs of your hands and each finger softening, releasing, all tension draining down to the ground. Feel your throat, the sides and back of your neck soften. Your jaw, lips, and tongue, your cheeks, nose, eyes, eyebrows, ears, forehead, muscles of your scalp, all sinking down, tension running away. If there are any parts that are still tight, let them soften and roll away, absorbed by the ground. And allow yourself to rest here. And before we begin to move, first take notice of the state of your body, your thoughts, your emotions. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, start to move your fingers and your toes. Wrists and ankles. Bring the soles of your feet to your mat, knees pointing to the sky. Rolling to the right side for energy for the evening. Rolling to the left side for restfulness, sleep. And then push yourself up using the strength of your arms and find yourself a seated position. Once you arrive here, bring your hands together in front of your heart, taking a moment to be grateful. There's something in your life that you should acknowledge. Thank you for joining me. Namaste. As always, if you have comments, questions, concerns, let me know. I want to hear.